What's your resume going to say when you enter the pipeline? You know, put it into words. Is it going to say self-starter, good teammate, all these other things? Or is it going to be like bare minimum? Like it might take a miracle. We've seen the 1% of barely make it before. But you know, I had to pass them because they met the requirements.
Yeah, exactly. You said something earlier, and I can't remember exactly how you said it, but it was talking about some of your fellow candidates and how they are, and whether or not people will make it. I think that's important to acknowledge. And I know that we've said it on Discord before, but like it's important to acknowledge that not everybody that you're with is going to make it, and that's okay. It's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to make it, and whether that is because of physical fitness, meeting the standards, overall they're just not mentally tough for it, or they're dealing with a lot of other stressors from whatever, their parents are sick or something like that, and maybe now is just not their time, or maybe they're just so young that they're just not ready yet and they need a couple years to season. So it's okay to acknowledge you're not going to. I think what it was you were talking about, like carrying people with you. There are some people that they just need a little nudge, and I don't mean that false motivation. I mean like, hey dude, I know you're going, like, because everybody has a bad day.
Yeah.
Going through the pipeline, and maybe you have a bad week, but the resiliency is being able to show up every single time and put out and do what you've got to do and continue on and not quit. That is the resiliency in the pipeline. It's okay though. People are going to quit. That's why we have an attrition rate.
And it doesn't mean you're not friends. And
Right.
it's easy from the outside to be like, hey, like this dude's not going to make it. Like the cones, like you need to stop dragging this person along and cheering them on, like for 2 weeks in a row or for the entire time that you've been here. They're the last at everything. And we can illustrate this with like Aaron's story, right? Like it doesn't mean you're not friends anymore. Aaron was still friends with the guys from the first time he was in the pipeline when he went to jump school. And that's like maintaining that relationship could get that person back in the pipeline later after, they've picked up the tools or the mentality, or they have a better understanding that's going to get them through the pipeline the second time. And so like if they're your friend, it doesn't mean that you cut them off just because they quit. Like it's fine if they quit or if they get washed out. Like just it doesn't make them a non-human. You know what I mean? Like, but like those relationships were maintained, and that's why Aaron went back through the pipeline and is now a PJ, whether you like it or not. For people that are out there. But like Aaron's also friends with Carrie Kite, right, from a Veteran Made Pod. Carrie never came back, and it's fine. He did great things in the Air Force, and now he's doing amazing things. Like, but it's not like, it's not like he came on the podcast. We're like, you're a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Like it's just the reality.
There is that though, and that feeling like whenever you do see somebody who has quit, there is a different, like, okay, so there's a, outside of the cadre's office, we'll just make it benign like that. Like usually people that quit or people that have failed have got to line up and that kind of stuff for their out processing, their debrief, and, to get all that kind of good stuff before they move on to the next step in their Air Force career. Well, there is a noticeable difference in people that quit and people that, like fail an event or fail an eval and then they're out. And within those people that quit, there are also what I've noticed two different types of folks. There's the people that regret it immediately, and they can see it, like it almost like it just came out of their mouth, and they realize what they did afterwards, and then they're like, oh crap, what did I do? And the other people are kind of a relief, like a weight's been lifted off their shoulder, because they never should have been there in the first place. They didn't know what they were getting into.
Yeah. And it's a significant emotional event for everybody, right? Like if you're on team and your buddy quits, like that's a hard day. That makes the day harder. Like it's hard to like not attach yourself to people. And but like I'm just saying, like that stuff will fade or should fade, and don't think too much about it. You know what I mean? Like it's just, you just got to move on. So like that's the math of the situation, is everybody's not going to make it. And yeah, like some of those people are going to be relieved, and like good on them. Go do great things. And I'll tell you from the cadre perspective, like if you quit, like, and it is so hard when they regret it right away. Like, cause they're like, Sergeant, I just want to get back in there. Like, I don't know what happened. And it's like,
nope.
Well, I'll see you in 2 years, or the pipeline will see you in 2 years if you really want to come back. Like, that's just the way it is. You know, we don't have the time or the resources. And that's what they don't understand is we don't have the time and the resources to keep letting people quit and come back. Like the reason the attrition is so high, it's not that, and we've talked about this. If I had 10 years to get everybody to the standards and to get them through the pipeline, we could probably do it with a way more people. If it was or not, that's dramatic, 10 years, but you know what I mean? Like a much longer timeline.
Yeah.
That we don't have the time. Like this is what we got. And you make it or you don't. So, and it's hard, but like the people that are relieved are kind of fun because they're like, yeah, I'm happy to be moving on.
Well, and a lot of those folks were people that weren't really doing it for themselves anyway. They were doing it because the expectations that they would do it or that somebody wanted them to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So in a way they're relieved. You're right though. It is the folks that really, really want to be there and that are really, really good folks. And they just weren't ready, or in a moment of weakness, they allowed those voices to propagate in their head and kind of take over.
Yeah. But you know, when you do the exit interviews, it's like, it's important. You just be like, hey, like our expectations for you are to go out and do great things no matter what, because you were here and you know, you went through a certain amount of the process and you learned something about yourself, obviously, because you came in one way, you left another way, and go out and do good things. And so that should be your expectation as a teammate as well. If someone doesn't make it, and if someone's dragging you down, like you got to be honest. You got to be honest with those people and just be like, hey man, we're not gonna drag you along today. You know, we're not gonna fix all your gear. We're not gonna carry all the weight. We can't do it because all it's gonna do is crush everybody else. And it's not a personal thing. It's just math. You can't carry extra weight the whole pipeline. You can't do all these things. It's not gonna work out.
No, well, and those folks can't, like, it's that, you know, weight, if you will, is heavy enough for their own stuff to then add on somebody else and carry them. It's too much. That they won't make it.
Yeah.
Because now you're weighing that other person down. Like that is something that I was always very cognizant of, is